I'm Caleb Cunningham, and this is my wife, Katie Cunningham, and our daughter, Jordan Cunningham.
I've been a police officer for 13 years. Ever since I was a kid, I've just always wanted to be a police officer, and being a police officer was always just really exciting to me. It was an interesting thought. I've held many different titles. So I was a canine handler for a while, and I was a special victims unit detective for a while, and then went back to patrol and then got promoted to sergeant. The SVU work is the hardest work. Not in the matter of like the amount of work, but just the context of the work is really difficult. You do see the worst of the worst. I mean, I'll spare you the details, but you do see a lot of terrible things that stick with you forever in your mind. Getting kids to understand that we would believe them when they talked about things and talked about abuse, and seeing that they would be believed was the most rewarding. And it was that SVU work that really kind of led us to fostering. And it just really kind of opened my mind to the idea that we really needed to do this. It was something we've always talked about, but nothing we ever took the step and leap in doing until one of the DFS supervisors sent me a package to my house because she knew that we had been thinking about it, and so she really kind of helped propel us in the direction that we needed to go. So I have two siblings in my house when I was growing up that were adopted. They were kinship placement, but they ultimately were adopted. Yeah. So that was something we always kind of talked about doing. I don't know, our number would always seem to be 4. We wanted 4. And we have 2 biological children and now 1 adopted. And adoption was always something we talked about doing. And there's always these different options of doing it, like adopting from other countries and all that, but we really realized that there was a lot of kids here, right here in our hometown, that needed love and support right where we are. So why wouldn't we help when we have the ability to do so? She was our first placement. We were her 4th placement in 1 week. She was really struggling in all her other placements. She was very sick, not only just like a double ear infection, but she also had some other substances on board that she was trying to detox from. And so she was a pretty tough kiddo to manage for that first week. And
Yeah, I think the biggest struggles are like our expectations going into it, what we think is going to happen and should happen, and then throwing that out and dealing with what's really happening.
And it's been cool to see other people choose to foster because of our experiences too. We've had a couple families who've either signed up to foster or are heavily considering it and preparing themselves to foster because of just the journey they've seen us on. Like, it's just crazy. I think in 1 week we got a call for like 5 or 6 different kids. And having to say no to a placement is so hard. We were listening to the radio the other day and a child called in about celebrating their adoption, and she pipes up from the backseat. She goes, "I was adopted." And I was like crying. I was like, "Yes, you were." But it's just super cool for her to look back on that and think like that was a really good thing for me, you know, because you just never know how kids are going to take that. Because there really is no more like fulfilling feeling than taking in a child and getting them even just stable on their feet so they can go back home or so they can go be reunited with their family. It's just a really rewarding feeling.